Picture a ship docking at a bustling port in Sicily, carrying not just goods, but a deadly passenger, the bubonic plague. This lethal bacteria, believed to have originated in Asia, traveled along the Silk Road, hitching a ride with merchants and their caravans. The year is 1347, and unbeknownst to the people of Europe, they are on the verge of confronting one of the deadliest pandemics in human history, the Black Death. Arriving from Asia via trading ships, the unseen enemy did not proclaim its arrival with a grand display or ceremony. Instead, it slipped in, silent and fatal, disguised as harmless fleas on black rats. These rats, stowaways on trading vessels, transported a disease that would ravage Europe's population. The symptoms of the plague were as horrifying as they were immediate. Fever, chills, weakness and inflamed lymph nodes erupted in the infected, followed by excruciating pain. The disease propagated like wildfire, leaping from person to person, affording no opportunity for understanding or reaction. On the bustling streets of Sicily, individuals began to succumb to illness, their bodies branded by dark, menacing boils that seep blood and pus, hence providing the disease its name. The Black Death was indiscriminate in its selection of victims. It stole the lives of the young and the old, the wealthy and the destitute, the nobles and the peasants. It surged across the continent, leaving no region unscathed. The Grim Reaper, it seemed, was performing a haunting dance across Europe. In this bedlam, fear became an ever-present companion. The air was dense with the stench of death and hopelessness. People lived under the menace of an unseen adversary, an enemy that was simultaneously everywhere and nowhere. However, in the face of this horrific tragedy, humanity displayed an astonishing resilience. Communities united, nurturing the sick, interring the dead, and consoling the grieving. Over a few short years, the Black Death claimed millions of lives, forever redirecting the trajectory of history. As the plague swept across the continent, it left in its wake a trail of death and despair. Imagine living in a world turned upside down, a world where once bustling marketplaces fell into eerie silence, where laughter and the hum of daily life were replaced by the mournful tolling of death bells. Giovanni Boccaccio, an Italian writer who lived through the Black Death, painted a chilling picture of this reality. He wrote of people collapsing in the streets, their bodies covered in dark, painful swellings. He spoke of homes once filled with life, now housing only the dead. His words, even after all these centuries, echo the heart-wrenching despair of a world in the grip of an unstoppable force. The scale of the pandemic was unprecedented. In just a few short years, between 1/3 and 1/2 of Europe's population was wiped out. That's an estimated 25 million lives lost, a number so staggering it's difficult to truly comprehend. But the impact of the Black Death went beyond the horrifying death toll. It was a societal cataclysm on a scale never before seen. Entire towns were abandoned, left to crumble into dust. Fields, once teeming with crops, lay fallow and untended. The very fabric of society, once so tightly woven, began to fray and tear. Mass graves became a common sight, stark reminders of the relentless march of death. These were not the orderly cemeteries of old, but hastily dug pits filled with the bodies of the young and old, rich and poor alike. Death, it seemed, was the great equalizer, taking without regard for status or wealth. The world was in despair, a landscape of sorrow and loss. But in this darkness, there were glimmers of change. For amidst the death and devastation, the seeds of a new world were being sown, a world that would rise from the ashes of the old. The plague didn't just devastate populations, it also shook the very foundations of society. In the face of such monumental loss, humanity was forced to adapt, to find new ways of living and understanding the world, and in doing so, it set the stage for a period of profound transformation. In the wake of such unprecedented carnage, the societal fabric began to evolve. The Black Death left in its trail a dramatically altered landscape. Entire villages vanished, and fields lay fallow, leading to an acute labor shortage. As the old saying goes, necessity is the mother of invention, and in this case, necessity led to a rise in wages, an unheard-of phenomenon in an era where the working class was often exploited. This newfound economic leverage spurred what would later be known as the Peasants' Revolt. The lower classes, emboldened by their increased value, began to push back against the oppressive feudal system that had bound them for centuries. But the changes didn't stop at the economic level. The plague also sowed the seeds of doubt in the minds of the people, leading to a questioning of traditional authorities. The church, once unassailable in its power, found itself under scrutiny. Why, people asked, had God allowed such a catastrophe to occur? If the church couldn't provide satisfactory answers, then perhaps its hold on society was not as absolute as once thought. In this way, the Black Death served as a catalyst for societal change. It challenged long-held beliefs and upended social norms, paving the way for a new order to emerge from the ashes of the old. The Black Death, in its grim way, sparked a transformation that would echo down the centuries. Economically, the plague set the stage for a shift away from feudalism. The Black Death, while devastating, was a catalyst for a profound transformation. As the dust of despair began to settle, the seeds of a new economic order were already taking root. The plague had decimated the labor force, creating a vacuum that needed to be filled. In response, wages surged, making labor a precious commodity. This newfound bargaining power led to the rise of labor-saving technologies. Innovators responded to the challenge, developing tools and techniques that would increase efficiency and productivity. The windmill, the horse collar, the printing press, these were not just inventions, but symbols of a society adapting to its new reality. But the changes didn't stop there. The old feudal system, with its rigid hierarchies and stagnant economies, began to crumble. In its place, we see the emergence of a vibrant merchant class, individuals who seized the opportunities presented by these tumultuous times to amass wealth and influence. They were the harbingers of what we now know as capitalism. Trade routes, too, underwent significant changes. As local economies were ravaged, merchants looked beyond their borders for new markets. The Silk Road, the spice route, these became the arteries of a burgeoning global economy, connecting East and West in a web of commerce and cultural exchange. In the ashes of the old order, a new economic era was taking shape. The Black Death, in its sweeping devastation, had inadvertently laid the foundation for the modern economic world. The cultural landscape, too, was irrevocably altered by the Black Death. The sheer scale of mortality and the profound societal upheaval that followed stirred a profound transformation in the realm of art and culture. It was as if society, having stared into the abyss of death, emerged with a renewed thirst for knowledge, beauty, and understanding of the human condition. Art began to reflect this shift. The danse macabre, a common motif in the wake of the plague, served as a stark reminder of the universal nature of mortality, regardless of one's status in life. This was a profound departure from the previously idealized depictions of life, introducing a raw realism that had not been seen before. Literature, too, was influenced by the plague's aftermath. The writings of the period began to question the status quo and explore the human experience, laying the foundation for the movement we now know as humanism. This was a shift away from the divine and towards the mortal, an exploration of what it means to be human in a world that could be so unpredictably cruel. In the wake of such devastation, society began to rebuild, not just in physical terms, but also in terms of thought, philosophy, and expression. The Black Death, in all its horror, had inadvertently sown the seeds of the Renaissance. From the shadow of the plague emerged a cultural rebirth that would define an era. Even today, the Black Death's echoes can still be heard. This catastrophic event in human history, while devastating, was a catalyst for profound changes that would shape the modern world. The plague's rampage across Europe led to a significant shift in societal structures. The dramatic reduction in population created a void that upended the traditional feudal system. Labor shortages led to a rise in wages, giving common people a newfound bargaining power that laid the foundation for the labor movements we see today. Economically, the Black Death accelerated the demise of feudalism, paving the way for more modern economic practices. The growth of merchant classes and the shifts in trade routes were the beginnings of a globalized economy. The labor shortages also spurred innovation in labor-saving technologies, a trend that continues to this day as we strive for efficiency and progress. Culturally, the aftermath of the Black Death set the stage for a renaissance. The thirst for knowledge and beauty, born out of such immense suffering, led to a flourishing of art and literature and a renewed interest in humanism. It was a period of rebirth, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. From the deepest tragedies, humanity often finds the strength to rebuild, reimagine, and renew. If you found this video informative and engaging, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue to create content that ignites curiosity and fosters a love for learning. We'd also love to hear your thoughts on this topic. What surprised you the most about the Black Death's impact on the world? What other historical events would you like us to cover? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments section below. Until our next journey into the past, keep learning and, as always, stay curious. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history.